officers, to remove it from the local chief executives. I totally agree with the premise of the proponent that the current setup promotes political patronage and allow the local chief executives to gain control of the local police, and that it also lessens the motivation of the local police to go after or to investigate possible cases against the local chief executives. Now, one argument, though, against the proposal, although I said I would support the proposal of the chair, is that this would encourage the LGU officials to, because nangyayari naman yan paminsan-minsan actually, na they would have their own security forces or the private armed groups who will carry out the orders of the LGU. And I think the solution to that is for DILG to ensure that the LGUs and the local PNP would have really close coordination, or would work together, even as the local chief executives would acknowledge and maintain the independence of the local police force. Posible naman ho siguro yan. May mga mechanisms naman po siguro tayong pwedeng maisip para, in spite of the independence now of the local police from the local chief executives, who would not anymore be given the authority to choose them, ay ensured pa rin na merong tamang coordination among them or between them.
Yes, Your Honor. Actually, that would be the ideal situation that we can see, ma'am.
Chair, can I go to the bill on the proposed transfer of operational control from PPSC to the PNP as proposed by Senator Sonny Trillanes? And I also totally agree actually with the premise of the proponent that there seems to be a mismatch between the requirements, the aspirations, and the expectations of the PNP on one hand, and the actual services provided by the PPSC. Kaya nga, you know, as a result, the graduate would still need to undergo further training, even after they graduated, for example, from PNPA. Kaya lang po, Mr. Chair, I could also see an argument against the proposal of PNP, against the separation, or there is an argument against the separation of PNPA and the other training institutions from the PPSC. And yung argument po dito is that PNP is not primarily and essentially an educational institution. Di ho ba? Because the main mandate of the PNP is, of course, peace and order, to maintain peace and order, and but not really to educate or to provide education to the members. Now, I think the mismatch, as highlighted by the proponent of the bill, is a result of the failure of the Board of Trustees, of whom the PNP chief itself, the PNP Police Director General, no, not the Police Director General, yes, the PNP Director General is a member, and the chair is precisely the Secretary of the DILG. So members naman sila. In fact, the chair is the DILG Secretary himself, and one of the members is the PNP Director General, along with others, BFP Director and BJMP Director. They are the members of the Board of Trustees. So how come they're not able to provide the PPSC the correct curricula, or the suggestions, the recommendations as the proper curricula? So I'm trying to still appreciate the necessity and propriety or desirability of really transferring PPSC from, these training institutions, including PNPA, from the PPSC to the PNP itself, which is not primarily an educational institution. Baka kailangan lang ng tweaking doon sa pinakatrabaho ng Board of Trustees instead of altogether removing it from PPSC. What's your opinion po, or your position, Police Deputy Director General De Leon?
Thank you, ma'am. With the permission of the chairman, it's really to thank you for pointing out the Board of Trustees. And before the any issue that is raised to the Board of Trustees for approval or consideration, we see to it that these are all evaluated also by HRDD on the human rights development, human resource doctrine development of the PNP. So I think they are well aware, just like in any revision of any curriculum, they are consulted, and we have the quad. We call it the operations, the personnel, community relations, and investigation. So to ensure that there should really be a communication among the directorates, so that this will be raised to the board for approval. So when we say we're going to do some revisions to also to comply with the requirements cited by the chairman, Senator Lacson, that there is a mismatch of graduates to the PO1 who are all degree holders, so we have to raise the level also of knowledge of this PNPA in terms of incident command system, as just one example, and their preparation as future chiefs of police. So I think it is really in order that the PPSC should handle the training, because when we look at the PNP, it is multidisciplinary. It is not only like the military focus on certain aspect. Ours is multidisciplinary. Second, it is community oriented. Policing as a philosophy. We are here to serve the community. And therefore, community development is part. It's not just knowing your enemy, but knowing your community, understanding people. So these are trainings that are part of the competencies that we are preparing our cadets. But may I just cite further, ma'am, the competency framework that we prepared. It is competence and character. As cited by Attorney Gabao, those who are coming in, especially criminologists, are well prepared. But again, it is not enough that we have the knowledge in the competence, but the practical skills of policing, and we are now bounded by what we call the Bible of the police operational procedure. And the second one, the third one of the aspect of competence is social technology. Again, this is not a simple ComStat. We're not talking about numbers. Social competency means how do you communicate, how do you understand communities. And later on, the social technology is really people. Now, in terms of character, one of the interventions that we have on ethics is that at the early stage, okay, internal affairs, please be the one to lecture already on the ethics, as well as accountability and discipline. So, what we are saying is that maybe the partnership must be strengthened, madam. It is the synergy of all our actions together. And if I may just cite, on the question of our field training exercise to complete the picture, is that the real picture, the moment they graduate from the school of 6 months pa lang po yun, at papunta na sa labas, they are now assigned to the PRO through the training service sa RSTU. But the question is, who will supervise the supervisor? When the training service may have some handicap in terms of going around to supervise them. So yun yung what we are trying to point out as a weakness to that aspect.
So I would suppose
Before
that you...
the follow-up question, let me acknowledge the presence of Senator Nasan, the Vice Chair of the Committee on Public Order, erstwhile Chairman of Public Order and Dangerous Drugs. Tatlo na po kami magkaklase rito, pati si General De Leon. Please proceed.
Hi, good morning. Um, uh, Deputy Director General De Leon. So I would suppose that you are actually not in favor of this proposal, of this bill, to transferring it
Yes, Your Honor.
from the PPSC to PNP.
So I
Because
try to-
if the problem is really just the mismatch, we're not giving the right curricula, madali naman sigurong i-resolve yan. You know, to increase coordination, to increase communication. Anyway, the Board of Trustees are the very officials of the institutions. So bakit kailangan pang i-transfer? Now, and in respect also of the follow-up training, I don't see anything wrong with that. Even lawyers would undergo follow-up trainings through the MCLE every 3 years, and therefore why not the police? So what is paramount here is to be able to really give the basic education, the basic value formation, the values, not just the skills, the technical skills, academic skills, but also the values or the ethics, the right ethics of the men and women within the PNP. But there's nothing wrong about the follow-up curricula, the subsequent curricula, for as long as these are properly identified in relation to the actual needs and requirements of the PNP. I think that can be remedied by not necessarily by transferring the mandate from PPSC to PNP. Tama po ba?
Yes, you're correct, Your Honor. There are two aspects of training. What the PPSC is handling are the mandatory courses. So the 6 months of that 1 year basic recruit training. Then after 6-7 years, they will go junior leadership. But in between are specialized courses or training conducted by the different institutions like PNP. So you are correct in saying that there are other courses in between to the specialization of the different units. So when you go to investigation, you will have to undergo that kind of training. When you go to traffic, the TMG, they are also handling, it's all about the training service, handling all of this specialized training. So it's actually a joint process. It is a continuing education that is happening. So it is, the mandatory courses are staggered, but in between there are so many other specialization courses offered by the PNP.
What human rights education or human rights awareness? Meron pa ho ba tayo, active pa ho ba yung PNP HRAO, the Human Rights Affairs Office? Is it still
Director for Plans, would you like to
It's still
respond?
active, very active, Mr. Chair.
reactive? But in the curricula of the various training institutions under PPSC, I suppose there are also courses,
Hindi
human
si
rights.
Director General De La Rosa, yung pareho lang sila ng hairdo, Madam Chair. Senator.
Yes, Your Honor. In fact, that is one module that we are also, part of the module that we are also, we have included. So it is.
Guidelines nga ho, klarado naman dun yung mga, the provisions, guidelines for constant respect for human rights, di ho ba?
Yes,
Palagi
ma'am.
naman hong nandyan yan.
Yes, ma'am. But because ang sinusundan namin is knowledge, attitude, skills. Para yun ang value. So the human rights is part of the human rights-based policing that we are also teaching in school based on the police operational procedure. So alam mo, sir, yun ang tinuturo natin. So coming from different discipline, the moment they go into an academic phase, yung kasing ibang recruits are also nurses, engineers, although majority are criminologists, then they are well aware of the procedures being observed by the PNP or fire or jail.
Director Vargas Noel, under what directorial staff ba yung human rights, yung office?
It's under the office of the Chief PNP. Mr.
Directly
Chair.
under the office of the chief. Para special staff ito?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
of the PNP
The head
HRO?
is Police Chief Superintendent Dennis Sierbo, Mr. Chair. Dennis Sierbo, sir. Siervo, Sierbo.
Your Honor, the human rights actually is heavily institutionalized in the existing police operational procedure. When we were crafting that POP, we considered the human rights provision, and it's already incorporated in our POP, ma'am.
I know that even when I was still with the CHR, there's always a continuous improvement or enhancement of the operational guidelines as to conform to human rights standards, although there seemed to be still a gap between what is on paper and the actual compliance by certain members of the PNP. I'm not, of course, saying that, I'm not generalizing, you know, so siguro kailangan pa rin talaga na to further enhance it. Thank you.
Senator Nasan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. President De Leon, this is my only chance to address you as President.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I will, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I'll try to bring you back 30 years ago. No. The basic principle really is a fountain cannot rise higher than its source. The police and military organizations are only a mirror or a consequence of the society and government it serves. I don't know if you remember that, no, Lino? That's why the reform movement of which all of us were members was born. Okay, my question basically is, in the proposal to transfer the Philippine National Police Academy and the Philippine National Training Institute, what is the objective? Let's start with the product, no? The product. Our product are supposed to be professional, honest, God-fearing graduates of that training program who will be conscious of human rights and be conscious of the fact that they are not the Praetorian Guard or the private security agency of any government that is in power, no? They are the protectors. They have to protect and to serve. Lagi ko nakikita yan sa karatula natin. So, my question is, what do you think is the rationale for the proposals at hand to transfer these two training institutes?
Thank you, Your Honor. As far as the side of the PPSC is concerned, we are not for the transfer because the setup is well in place, but there are gaps really to be addressed. And based on the experience, I was given the opportunity to serve for 2.5 years, the gaps could really be addressed. So if I presented the new framework of addressing 21st century challenges and the 21st century framework of education, is the purpose of which is that the police, for example, is a multidisciplinary training, and there should be professional group who must handle that. But again, the desired competencies, as pointed out, must be shared from the stakeholders or clients to the training centers or to the PPSC. And that's the reason why there are so many revisions that had already been undertaken, including the creation of a learning environment so that our officers must be creative and innovative. That's why, Your Honor, we conceptualize a cadet square where they are now into dormitories rather than barracks, so that their level of thinking will even be higher. So that's the reason why I said in a short period of time, those gaps could be addressed, but with a strong partnership. Therefore, what is the need of a separation when the purpose now is not in silos, a training in silos, but multi-sectoral approaches, Your Honor.